Welcome to another video. If this isn't the first time that you're watching one of my videos, hello again. If this is the first time that you're seeing one of my videos, my name is Jessica, and I am a young person that just recently graduated cosmetology school, and my last few videos have kind of been just blabbing on about cosmetology school and just hoping that I say something that helps people that are considering going to cosmetology school. Because it was a year and a half of my life, and a lot happened, and I'm just getting out pretty much everything that happened, my feelings towards it, my advice for people that are considering it, and yada, yada, yada. And I forgot to mention in the last few videos, I am not putting any restrictions on my videos. So for the first few years filming, I had comments turned off just for reasons I don't really care to get into. It is what it is. But with these particular videos, I want to have the comments on, and they're going to be on because I just want to see comments just about whether or not it was helpful. If it wasn't helpful, why was it not helpful? What were you hoping I would have gone more into detail about, or, you know, whatever. But of course, keep it constructive, because if it is the least bit not constructive, I can very easily just not allow comments. So there you have it. I have that disclaimer. This is the intro to my next video here, and I may insert a few blips of something fun that I'm doing everyday life, running errands, going to a show, what have you, something I'm watching, you know, what have you. I have my favorite shows, but yeah, I want this video to be just particular stories that I would like to share from cosmetology school. So sit back, relax, maybe get a drink, or some food, strap on your whatever you want to strap on. I don't know why I'm saying that. Just feel free to do whatever you would like as you are hopefully entertained by these stories. So that's it for the intro. Hopefully it wasn't too long, and stay tuned for the stories. So welcome to the first story of this video. It's the next morning and I'm still drinking my coffee. And I'm gonna do my best to not make the story too long, because I'm like holding the camera as opposed to using something as a tripod. But the first story that comes to mind here is there was a particular student that had dark black colored hair, and she colored her hair that way to cover her gray hair, to cover her naturally gray hair, because she was an older student that had hair that was graying. So she colored it black to cover it up, until one day she decided that she wanted to stop doing that. She wanted to just bleach it until it got back to her natural gray color, and just start to work with it then. And so we had exchange service days, this is right? So on one of these exchange service days, her and one of the other students thought, like, okay, why don't we just start to bleach your hair? So that's what happened, and of course it did not go well. It was completely red. And so what happened after that? She just kept on bleaching it. So it got to a point to where she got it to be blonde, but it was still so it was blonde, but it was clearly very, very damaged. And it was always her and this one other student that was doing it, because, you know, her and this other student were kind of just really in cahoots with each other. And finally, the teacher gets involved, and the teacher just says, "Stop." Now, should the teacher have gotten involved before then? Probably, yeah, but that's not the story. Finally, the teacher says, like, "Stop. Do not do anything else to your hair, like, while you're at school." She finally said, like, I'm not going to be responsible for any of this. So, so finally, she stops letting this one other student do it and lets somebody else help her with it. And finally, she gets it to the point to where she's graduating. She was a student that was much farther along in the program than I was. She had started much earlier in the program than I did. And so finally, it got to a point where she was graduating from the program in just about a month. So when you graduate, you know, there's going to be pictures, right? To a point where she's about to graduate cosmetology school soon, and she's walking around with green tinted hair, because they used a toner that ended up doing that. They used the wrong toner on her, because they didn't consult the teacher about it. And so she was walking around with green tinted, very chemically damaged hair. So she was about to graduate cosmetology school with hair that looked like that. Now, some people, like, may not care. Some people may think that it's just hair, and that's, like, empower to you, like, if that's what you think. But the reality is, it's really not. But anyway, so you can't be about to graduate cosmetology school with hair that's very chemically damaged. Obviously I'm not going to insert any pictures or anything, but yeah, that was a thing. So yeah, hopefully that story isn't too long, but it was just definitely something that was just kind of interesting to just kind of witness what was going on. Like, and by no means I'm not trying to be like disrespectful like with any of these stories or anything. Like, this is all this is, you know, just all for entertainment purposes, but yeah, it was just an interesting thing to witness. And and so that's my first story. Stay tuned for the next story that I come up with sharing. Well, I hope you were entertained by that last story, because I am here the next morning with my coffee again with another story. So I know I kind of went into depth about this detail already in one of my last videos, but what had happened was we had a regular teacher that taught that taught us everything. And then she had kind of slowly but surely stopped doing nights. So we ended up getting a new teacher. And this particular teacher was a very, very nice person, very kind person, very, very intelligent, very knowledgeable of the field, and and very helpful on client nights and, all that stuff. But on non-client nights, everything kind of literally just felt like just social hour. Just everything, there were no, set expectations of what each class was supposed to be working on, because I don't know, it just felt like just social hour, because with the last teacher, I have a visitor. With the last teacher that had taught everybody everything, we went into class every day with literally assignments on the board. I want this class to be working on this, that class to be working on that, and then the students that are about to graduate, I want you to be just trying to finish up your stuff. So she had very good set expectations. It was very good. But when the new teacher came in, it wasn't like that. There were literally no expectations. And so it kind of got to a point where it was kind of literally all social hour. So one night, one of the former cosmetology instructors that had taken a different job with the school came in to substitute for us, because our regular teacher at that point wasn't available to come in because she had some personal things come up, and we had to have her for the week. So this particular teacher that came in as the substitute for that week, she was good. She, like I said, was a former instructor with the cosmetology department. She knew what everybody needed to be working on. She knew how to get through to everybody, and she knew how to set expectations and did not take any crap from anybody. And I think she came in overwhelmed that week about everything that just had not been accomplished with everybody. And she just laid down the law, hey, I notice that a lot of things that have not been done with literally every class, especially the freshman class, the first class, and I expect you to be working on everything, and if I don't see you working on your stuff, you're not gonna see a very good side of me. It's she just knew how to get through to everybody, and I loved that. It was for me personally, it was a breath of fresh air, because I never took my eye off of the prize, and that was finishing getting my certificate so that I could sign up to take my test, which is the point I'm at right now. So I guess, yeah, that's pretty much the story. The last teacher that I had just wasn't, again, she was a very, very kind person. She just had never taught before, and so she just didn't really know how to really teach and get through to the students. She cared more about just kind of being everybody's friend, if you will. So yeah, that's another cosmetology story. I do have one more in particular in mind that I want to share, but that's a different part for a different day. So for that, stay tuned, and big hug, big love. So we have made it to Thursday, the end of the week, and have my coffee again for the next story. So, the story that came to mind for my next one here is a client story, because when you're in cosmetology school, you will be working on clients under supervision from the instructor. And you'll run into a lot of clients that just want absolutely professional, perfect looking hair for a very cheap price, because that's what the prices are at a school salon, because it's being done by a student. You're paying the school for the products used in the service, and not necessarily the student that's doing it. So that's what happens when you get a service done at a school salon. And so I had a client that came in for highlights, and this was actually my first client that I did highlights on. And I had been practicing a lot, and because highlights take a very, very long time to perfect. Very long time. Like, even after you're done with school, highlights just are one of those things. It just takes practice, practice, practice. And that's why you work on mannequins, and you work on clients that are willing to let you work, you practice on their hair. So I had a client come in for highlights, and so I go through the service step by step, just like how my instructor taught me. And we get to the part where I finished giving her just a trim, because when you get highlights, your ends become like just a little frizzy from the bleach. So it's good to give them just kind of a little dusting of their ends. So I did that, and then I go to blow dry it. She said, "Oh, I don't want you to blow dry it. I don't have time, because I have to get my kids home." Because she brought in 4 freaking kids to the salon. And so I'm like, okay then, I guess we're done. So my mistake in this was I should have kind of laid down the law a little bit. Like, okay, I understand, you have somewhere to be, but I just gave you highlights, and I need to blow dry you at least just a little bit so that I can check my work, so that way the color it turned out at least presentable in the way that you asked for it. So, because it involves a toner and stuff, and it's this whole thing. And, well, I didn't let her, she didn't let me blow dry any of it, but that was my mistake. What ends up happening with this? She comes in a week later with an appointment with a different student, getting her highlights fixed because they didn't turn out the way that she wanted. And that kind of made me mad, because had I blow dried it and I would have seen it, I would have been able to fix it. And lo and behold, what ends up happening after that? Oh, that's right, she still didn't like it. And it got to a point where she just wanted the instructor to just do it for her. But the instructor was just like, "No, not doing that. I'm here to make sure that my students learn, and I wouldn't be doing that if I just did it for them. So no, I'm not going to do that. Kudos to her for standing ground on that. But so yeah, that's pretty much the story on that. That didn't turn out to be as long as I was expecting it to be, but yeah, hopefully you've been enjoying these stories. I may be able to come up with more, but yeah, that's today's story, and hope you enjoyed that story. I got at least one more, so one more in me, but yeah, stay tuned for more stories. Big hug, big love. So my next story here is coming to you on Saturday here before I go to work with my coffee. And I'll try to make this story as short and sweet as I can. But basically, it's about another client that I had, but it wasn't necessarily the client that was bad. This was a client that I had actually come to really like, because I got to doing her hair one day because I was kind of the only one that was available. So this client was booked with me, and we got to really like each other. You know, she was good with the way that I did her hair, so she booked with me for her next appointment and so on. And I had a few appointments with her, which was good. And, you know, she was a very nice person, very sweet person. And I was considering offering to do her hair, like, after I graduated and stuff. But before I could really get to that, there was one night to where I unfortunately, I didn't fry off her hair or anything. I never did that to anybody because I had learned from a lot of those types of mistakes before I went to cosmetology school. So, but what had gone wrong was this. Sometimes, even though you have the formula right in theory and you think you have a good color picked out for that particular client, sometimes, in fact, more times than you know, the color just doesn't take the way that it was intended. And this is what happened. And it was to the point to where it just kind of looked like her hair just had not been colored at all. And she processed with it for 30 minutes. And so my teacher saw this, and she kind of almost got peed off at me in front of the client. And which I talked to the client about the situation, and she was like, oh, it's okay, we can just do a different color next time. Because she was somebody that worked all day, and she just wanted to, get pampered at the end of the day so she can just go home and go to bed. That's what she liked. She didn't have time to stay for a whole extra getting her hair colored section, which that's what my instructor wanted me to do, because she literally said to me in front of the client, no, you're coloring her hair again. It doesn't look like it's been colored. You can still see her roots. And I was just like, wow, she's actually treating me like this in front of a client. That's literally disrespectful. Okay. But both the client and me stayed calm, and the teacher gave me a formula that she wanted me to use, But the client said, no, why don't I just come back at a later time and we can do that? Like she very clearly just wanted to go home and she can relax. Like she didn't want to think too much into the situation, like what my instructor was doing. She didn't want to do that. She just wanted to go home and go to bed so that she can be up for work the next day. That's what she wanted, and I totally get that. And so the client made an appointment for that following week. She wasn't charged for it, for the color, and she agreed to come back the next week so that, you know, we could get the color right. Now, I didn't end up working on that client again because I was at the point where I was just kind of trying to just get all of my testing done. There was a lot of testing that had to be done at the end of the program. So there's a lot of theory tests that you had to take over the course of the program. And at the end, you had to go back and pass all those tests again before you could take the finals. And that took so much time. And so I was in a personal situation regarding my father. My father had gotten really sick, and I just needed to just get what I needed to get done in school so that I could be there for my father. So that's what it was like at the end of my program. It was very, very stressful, and I'm glad that I'm past it, but for that reason, I couldn't really work on too many more clients after that. So, but yeah, I kind of think about that client sometimes, and I know that she still goes there to get her hair done, but yeah, that's the story, and yeah, stay tuned for anything else that I have to say. Maybe I'll have one more story. Maybe I'll choose to just wrap this video up here. But either way, stay tuned. Big hug, big love. And we have made it to the conclusion of my cosmetology stories video here. So it's been a crazy few days, but I finally got to making the conclusion because I felt like I've shared quite enough in this video, and perhaps I'll share more in the next video. Cosmetology school is still very fresh in my mind, and so yeah, it's been a while since I've filmed in our guest room here. I do want to film here more, but because I filmed like every part of this video pretty much outside. But yeah, let me know. Like I said, I will have comments in this video. Let me know what you liked, what you would have liked better, and all of your constructive comments in the comments. I'll have them turned on. I don't have restrictions on my videos, or on most of my videos from here on out. I want to talk about cosmetology school and my life post cosmetology school. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed the video. Hopefully you enjoyed the stories, and hopefully I said at least a little something that was helpful if you're considering going to cosmetology school. Hopefully I didn't discourage you if you're considering going to cosmetology school. That was not my intention at all. Because I do want to encourage people to go in the direction that they're considering. So yeah, that's all I gotta say about that. If you would like to follow me on Instagram, my link will be below. And yeah, or at least my name will be below if you would like to find me on Instagram and give me a follow there. And I have all of my pictures from cosmetology school and before cosmetology school on there. But yeah, hopefully you liked the video. Subscribe for more if you liked it. Comment if you liked it. Like it if you liked it. And that's it for me. Big hug, big love.